Hey, good morning or good afternoon, whichever one, man.
It's the day, and whatever the day brings, we will feel blessed because we're in that day. Whatever the day is, we're blessed.
Yes, sir. Someone's been bantering about acts of service, but they only just want to relate it to just love only. But how can you relate acts of service to life? You know, the form of being kind and all that stuff.
Seek and you shall find. Seek and you shall find. You can't get something from nothing. In order to give, you must have something to be able to give. As a resourceful person, as somebody who wants to achieve things in their life, you know, if you want to be truly successful, you're gonna have to give something at some point. You know, whether that's your time in exchange for a service, whether that's money in exchange for a service, or to bless somebody, or to help somebody else. All of these things basically relate to what can you give and provide to other people, and what are you doing that in exchange for. If you give something to somebody with no expectation in return, you've still gotten something from that. You've gotten the feeling that and the knowledge that you can provide to other people, knowing that you don't need anything in return. Now, what does that do for you as a person? It can give you confidence, it can reinstill self-belief, it can do many things. It can even promote you to try and get others and other people to give also. A world where we're constantly giving to other people, you know, is a fruitful world where everybody is providing for one another. To touch on this in terms of a business or financial standpoint for yourself, you know, you can give out of love in your personal life. You can give out of love, you know, to people who you care about, people who you want to see win. And that can translate not just into your personal life, but as we just mentioned, into your business. Now, when it comes to business, giving as an act of love, giving time or your service to provide value to somebody else, to a client or a customer, the thing that you receive back from that will be in the form of money. It's necessary to give at all times. As somebody who wants to be successful, you're gonna have to give. So you need to get used to giving to other people and put it as a part of your ecosystem for who you are as a person. You can't expect to live your life and receive if you don't expect to give. I live my life with the expectation that I have to give stuff to people, and that stuff really depends on what I'm expecting back in return. The real question is, what can you start giving if you have nothing to give? And this is what I'm gonna say to you. You always have something to give. You're always gonna have something to give. Whether that's your time, whether that's your attention, whether that's your energy, whether that's your prayer or belief or your thought. You always have something to give. Even if you materialistically have nothing or feel you have nothing to give, you still have something. As long as you have life and breath in your body, you can do something, you can give something. And that's really the key. Start with being able to give your attention to somebody who you feel needs your attention, because you can offer them your attention, and you can offer them maybe even more than just your attention. Maybe you can offer them a different way of thinking or a different perspective. And maybe because you've given your time and attention, you end up taking their perspective along with you and your journey and your life. And now you can use that in whatever way, because now you've left that person understanding a little bit more about life. Imagine if you did that to not just one person. Imagine you did it to every person that you met. Imagine you did it to the first 5 people around you. You know, when they say Rome wasn't built in a day, Rome's empire was built by conquering the local villages around the land that they started it in. And really, you have to use this kind of mentality when it comes to building yourself as a character and giving as an act of service. Giving out of love and giving without intention to receive back in return will normally lead you to receive something anyway. It's called the law of reciprocation. Yeah, so whatever that you give back, people naturally want to give something back to you. They want to give something back to you. You know, if you give me something, if 10 people gave me stuff, there's one of those people I'm gonna want to give something back in return. Yeah, if I've been blessed by 10 different people, by one person 10 different times, at some point I've got to want to give something back. Yeah, if I want to be who I want to be, which is somebody who lives life with good intentions, somebody that I believe is successful in my own view, I determine what success is to me. If I want to truly be like that and actually live accordingly, at some point I'm going to want to give something back. It's not in my belief to get something from nothing. So when I have been blessed, when I have been given something, I've got to give something back eventually. Even it may not be right now, because I can't give something that I feel is going to resonate with the same value I was given. I'm still going to want to give something at some point when I'm able to. If you're somebody who believes that life has treated you badly and is throwing you across, and you never really feel you've been lucky in life, and you feel quite misfortunate and things never really work out, I would start giving. I would start giving in some kind of way. Yeah, I would start giving your time to things that can benefit you back in return, by giving you experience and skills necessary to go out there and use your time now in exchange for some value back in return.
Dan, at which point would you say your giving is being taken for granted?
Now that is a beautiful question, yeah.
You know, obviously that's to do with work, relationships, all of that as well.
If you give to the point you get nothing back in return, you can make an argument that it's being taken for granted of. Yeah, but that's because you have the expectation that something eventually is coming back to you. If you give with no expectation, in your eyes there's no platform or foundation for you to feel like you've been taken advantage of, because you've given freely with zero expectation. Now, if you give knowledge with expectation that this person's going to provide you value back over time, or in some kind of way, whether that's financially in a business, whether that's through love and feelings and time and attention in your personal relationships, whether that's physical contact by a spud or a handshake or a hug or whatever other means, whatever expectation you have, if that person doesn't respond to the law of reciprocation, because for whatever reason it doesn't align with their beliefs, and all they do is seem to just take, they don't give you anything back, then that's somebody, if you have the expectation for them to give, is somebody that you shouldn't be giving to anymore. Because what that person is doing is taking advantage of the energy that you've decided to give them. If they haven't asked you for it, then it's down to you to manage your own expectations for what they should be giving you back. If they have said something to you that has led you to believe that they're going to give you something back, i.e. a loan, right? Let's say you give your friend £1 and there's an agreement to give you the £1 back, and they don't do that, and they do that a couple of times. That person is somebody who doesn't have it within their character to respond to the law of reciprocation, to respond to the law of good nature and good intentions, to give back to you. And that's somebody you wouldn't necessarily have to cut off, but you would certainly have to stop giving to. So you may be able to give that energy to somebody who truly needs it and can give back to you. Everyone's an actor, innit? Everyone's an actor. Everybody has a face or a way of being when they interact with other people. The question really to ask yourself for self-reflection is, you know, who are you and who is it that you really want to be? And what faces do you want people to see? There's a couple different ways you can try to analyze yourself and who it is that you are and how you behave around other people. But it starts with knowing who you are right now and who you'd like to be over the course of your life. And that will determine and be reflected by the actions you do